In 2 Timothy 3:2, the Apostle Paul said, "But in the last days people will be unholy and profane." Again, let us investigate Paul's words given to Timothy and how we correlate this to our present last day, before the coming of our Lord. Let's start with moral decay. This refers to a general decline in moral standards and behavior. In other words, people in the last days will become more and more immoral and disrespectful towards sacred things. This will manifest in various ways, such as increased promiscuity, greed, dishonesty and more. Like irreverence towards God, this refers specifically to a lack of reverence towards God. People today are rejecting God altogether and adopting a flippant, disrespectful attitude towards Him. This is seen in blasphemous language or behavior, or a general disregard for God's commands and teachings. Next, spiritual confusion. This refers to a general confusion about spiritual matters. In the last days, people will be misled by false teachings and become mired in spiritual confusion and uncertainty. This is why we have thousands of different religions and beliefs. This results in a lack of direction or purpose in life, as people struggle to understand their place in the world. The rejection of tradition refers to a rejection of tradition and established values. In the last days, people will be more inclined to disregard the wisdom of their ancestors, or the teachings of their elders, opting instead for new and untested ideas. This has led to a breakdown in social norms and an erosion of cultural values. Hedonism today refers to a general focus on pleasure-seeking and self-indulgence. In the last days, people have become increasingly obsessed with satisfying their own desires, regardless of the consequences. This result is a culture of excess and debauchery, in which people prioritize their own pleasure over the well-being of others. Lack of respect for authority. People are now rejecting the authority of both secular and religious leaders and become more rebellious and disobedient. This has caused social unrest, conflict, and a breakdown in law and order. Next, idolatry. This refers to the worship of false gods or objects. In the last days, people have turned away from the worship of the one true and only God, and instead embrace false religions or other idols, such as money, power, or fame. This has led to spiritual blindness and a loss of the true meaning and purpose of life with God. Hypocrisy. In the last days, people claim to be religious or moral, but their actions do not reflect their beliefs. They engage in deceptive or manipulative behavior and are more concerned with appearances than with genuine piety. This has led to a lack of trust and credibility in our leaders and institutions. Finally, the lack of empathy, one we talk about often in these messages. This refers to a lack of empathy and compassion towards others. People have become more self-centered and indifferent to the suffering of others. They now prioritize their own needs and desires over the needs of their neighbors or the greater good. This has resulted in a society that is increasingly divided and uncaring, with little concern for justice or the common good. As we can perceive, Paul's words have become true, as we can view a growing unholy and profane society. Sadly, this will not change before the coming of Jesus, and will probably get worse. Thank you for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe to Grace to Prophecy Network.